Percy Bysshe Shelley was a poet, playwright, and author. He is known for his lyrical and long-form verse poetry and is one of the most highly regarded English romantic poets of the 19th century. Percy Shelley was born in England on August 4, 1792. Percy was born into a well-to-do family. His father, Timothy Shelley, was a squire and a member of Parliament who married to Elizabeth Plifold. Together they had 7 children, Percy being the first. As being the eldest child, he was the first to leave home at just 10 years of age to go study at the Sion House Academy. After being at the academy for 2 years, he enrolled at Eton College. While in college, Percy was severely bullied both physically and mentally by his classmates. This led to the retreatment into his own imagination, and within 1 year, he had published 2 novels and 2 volumes of poetry. In 1810, Percy began to attend Oxford University. It was here that he and his friend Thomas Jefferson Hogg wrote a pamphlet called The Necessity of Atheism. The dean of the college demanded that the boys either acknowledge or deny authorship of the pamphlet. Percy did neither, and in return was expelled from Oxford and disowned by his father at the age of 16. His parents were so exasperated they ordered their son to forsake his beliefs of vegetarianism, political radicalism, and sexual freedom. Percy's beliefs regarding vegetarianism and animal rights inspired his essay, A Vindication of Natural Diet, which was privately printed as a first part of his philosophical poem Queen Mab in 1813. Percy eloped in 1811 to a woman named Harriet Westbrook, a 16-year-old woman whom his parents forbid him to see. Shelley attempted an open marriage, much to Harriet's dismay, which eventually led to the demise of their marriage. Together they had 2 children, but 3 years into their marriage, Percy left Harriet on the account of unhappiness. This was in part due to his newfound attraction to a schoolteacher named Elizabeth Hitchener. She was his inspiration, along with his loyalty to animal rights and vegetarianism, for his first major poem, Queen Mab. Percy traveled to London and befriended an atheist journalist named William Godwin. It was Godwin's daughter whom Percy fell in love with next. Her name was Mary. Mary's father did not approve. Percy and Mary ran off to Europe in 1814.
When Percy returned home, both Mary and Harriet were pregnant with Percy's children. Harriet then filed for divorce and full custody of their other 2 children. Harriet's 3rd child and Mary's 1st child were born only 3 months apart. 2 years later, Percy's wife Harriet drowned herself in 1816. No less than 3 weeks after Harriet's death, Mary and Percy were married. In that same year, Shelley rented a lake house on Lake Geneva, very near to Lord Byron's, and the 2 men became fast friends. Shelley wrote incessantly during his visit, and some of his experiences with Lord Byron became inspiring to his writing. Percy also befriended John Keats and Leigh Hunt, who were also talented poets. Percy's conversation with these men encouraged his literary pursuits. In 1817, he wrote a piece titled The Revolution of the Golden City, in which the storyline centers on incestuous lovers. His publishers asked him to edit the piece and find a new title. In 1818, Percy, Mary, and Claire, Mary's sister, moved to Italy. Here Shelley continued to write even through the unfortunate death of 2 of his and Mary's children. Through writing and traveling, Percy also continued to venture on sailing trips on his schooner named Don Juan. On July 8, 1822, just shy of turning 30, Shelley was sailing from Livorno to Lerici after meeting with Leigh Hunt to discuss their newly printed journal. It was on this trip back that Shelley drowned to death caused by a storm. His body washed ashore and was cremated on the beach of Reggio, Italy. His ashes now are kept in the Protestant cemetery of Rome, Italy. Shelley's unconventional life and uncompromising idealism, combined with his strong, disapproving voice, made him an authoritative figure during his life and afterward. It is said that Shelley never lived to see the success of his influence and works. During his lifetime, some of his works were published, but often they were suppressed upon publication. Shelley is now seen as one of the most influential poets and writers of the Romantic period in English literature. Many of Percy's well-known literature works today include Ozymandias, Queen Mab, Love's Philosophy, Time Long Past, and Ode to the West Wind. And now here is an excerpt from Shelley's poem, Love's Philosophy.
The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with the sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine, and one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth if thou kiss not me?